1,500 pages. Well, hello my friends, my name is Regulon, and I finally managed to read a whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. And actually I'm confused, because so many people, almost everyone who read these books liked them, and I'm confused because I didn't like them. Like, not at all, but it is like that kind of books that are not really good. Like, people think that they are great, that it is like the coolest fantasy books among classic ones, but I don't think so at all. Like, that was bad. That was really bad. So today I'd like to share whole thing, my opinion and my emotions about that trilogy with you. So yeah, let's go. First of all, if I'm talking about how bad these books are, then let's start with the disadvantages of those. So let's begin with the main one. It is the boring part of this book. Like, it's really fucking boring. Like, I remember when I first read Hobbit, then it was really amazing. Like, all those adventures, all that thing, that was really cool. Like, I thought that Tolkien is the god of adventure books or something like this. But when I started the first book, Fellowship of the Ring, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually alright. Yeah, that's good. But then the Two Towers came. That was not really good, and I was like, alright, I will read it through, because I planned. So yeah, maybe the last one will be the best. Then I started The Return of the King, and it was even worse than the Two Towers. I mean, in the adventure, this whole thing, in adventure way, but occasionally I liked the second part of Return of the King, about hobbits. When the ring was already destroyed, it was pretty amazing. Like, I really was into it. But the whole thing, the adventures of Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, that was not really good at all. That was just boring. All that stuff was freaking boring. Like, maybe it was alright in the first book, in the Fellowship of the Ring, because the whole Fellowship was all together, and it was pretty fun to watch how they managed to do all this stuff. But then the Two Towers was like the worst book about adventure stuff I've ever read. And so yeah, I would like to say that the main problem of this trilogy was the boring stuff. Because, as I said, if you compare this trilogy to The Hobbit, then you'll know what I'm talking about. That Hobbit is much more interesting. All the time you have this adventure thing. And in Lord of the Rings, you always have this boring dialogues, lack of adventures, 1,500 pages. Let's continue with the useless characters. There are a lot of them. Like, it's a book, it's understandable, but there are really fucking a lot of them. A lot of useless characters that are not used in the plot at all. Like, we got main characters, we got some sub characters, and we got a lot of those who are just useless. You don't need them, you can delete them or replace with some sub-characters. Why did you like add that whole lot of characters who are just not even interesting? But let's talk about the first advantage of the book. It will be the main characters and even sub-characters, because that was the most amazing thing. Like, if you even compare it to movie, like it's obvious that if you're writing book, you can write about characters a lot. You have time, you have pages, like infinite number of pages. When you're shooting movie, you just have like 2 hours. If you're shooting Lord of the Rings, then you have 3.5 hours. So yeah, I actually liked the most the I think I really liked how Tolkien described hobbits, because the 4 of them, because it was really fucking good. Like, if you're comparing with the movies, there was like Merry is like this, Pippin is like this, Sam is cool, Frodo is crying, I don't know. And in the book, you see how different world, how different characters, and you know how they feel in every situation, and they're just amazing. I really like that. Mostly I liked how Tolkien described Frodo, the whole his path. Like when in the first book he's like that self-confident, he's great, he's smart, and everyone likes him. And then he's changing. He has changed during the Two Towers and Return of the King. Maybe the Two Towers, just the Two Towers. And in Return of the King, we see that guy who finds it difficult to continue his path, who finds it difficult to reach the Mount Doom and stop all this shit, and even in the end, he was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm wearing the ring. 1,500 pages. Alright, let's continue with the next disadvantage of books. It's love stories. Like, we all know that fantasy books are not about this whole romance thing, but what the hell? Like, first 2 books, there were almost no female characters except Elwyn. Yeah, I guess that's it, just Elwyn. In the second book, and in the first one there were no female characters at all. And then in the third book, they actually opened Elwyn, added Arwen, and added Rosie, which is really not a character at all. So yeah, why didn't you describe all those characters in previous books? Like, why not? You knew that you maybe will add these love stories, these characters. Although I liked the whole romance between Faramir and Elwyn, but despite that great character like Aragorn, and he was just, oh yeah, you know, let's use another useless character. Arwen, come here. That would be really great if you describe at least Arwen like the movies did. Like, there was Arwen from the very first movie, and you knew her story. And actually that was really fucking amazing when she struggled because she's in love with mortal Aragorn, and he will someday die, and she's a mortal elf, so she will not die. And that was cool. Like, even Alvin was good in the movies, because like, no, I would like to say that I really like her in books, but in the movies, if you remember, she was that in love with Aragorn, but then she just disappeared because he loves Arwen, and all this shit goes on. And Alvin just hell yeah. I'm not gonna follow him anymore. I'm not like this. Actually, yeah, what I just said, it's an advantage of the books. Like, I really loved Alvin in the books. Okay, let's go to the next advantage. It is the whole Rohan thing. Because let's start with Alvin. She's like that cool person who's at first liked Aragorn, and then she realized that she's not gonna be with him like ever, and she decided to become the just warrior. She she goes to the war. She risks her life to kill the Nazgul king, and then when the ring is destroyed, her romance with Faramir, and that was pretty amazing actually, reading through whole this her story. I liked it a lot, but mostly I liked, like maybe like everyone, the Theoden's story, as how he is introduced to us in the second book, and how he's like the real king who's going through this hell, who decides to help Gondor, and he's just the coolest guy in the whole trilogy. Like, I'm not even joking, he's just the coolest. And that moment when he dies, and how Elmer felt about this, his reaction to Theoden's death, and he also thought that Alvin is dead as well, and that was pretty much exciting. Well, the second book was all about Rohan, actually, I think. 1,500 pages. Okay, the next disadvantage. It will be a third one? No, the fourth one. Yeah, the fourth disadvantage of Lord of the Rings will be battles. Because none of them are described, are really described. No, none of them. You got like, oh yeah, they came, they killed that guys, they won. Oh great, thanks. What is that? You got like fantasy. It's a fantasy books. Like, the battles is the most exciting thing about fantasy books. Like, maybe besides plot. Yeah, maybe plot and battles. Two things that should be in fantasy books. No battles. Like, of course there were some battles, but none of them are really described. Even the battle in Pelennor Plains, it was fucking, yeah. So Rohan came, they defeated orcs, and then Mumakil came, and then Aragorn with their guys came, and so the light forces won. It was the most epic battle ever, and I mean ever in the trilogy. And then you just ruin all this stuff. Like, it's actually not really a disadvantage. Maybe it's just a style of Tolkien. In my opinion, it should be a disadvantage because it is a fantasy trilogy. you should describe battle. 1,500 pages. Finally, the final fifth disadvantage of Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's gonna be actually not real disadvantage, but disadvantage comparing to the movies. It's gonna be a crowning of Aragorn, because if you remember in the movie, it was like so emotional when he says, when hobbits bend their knees to Aragorn, and he said that like, stand up, we should bend our knees to you, you won this whole War of the Ring, and we should give our lives to you for. And that was really the most emotional moment in the whole movie trilogy. But in the book it was just, oh yeah, Gandalf, you will crown me, and Frodo give him a crown. Like, what was that really? Like, Tolkien could make this more emotional. In the books, I think the most emotional moments were like death of Theoden, of course, it was like the most, and the ending. If I'm comparing books to movies, let's also talk about Denethor and Boromir, because in movies they were shown like some kind of like bad characters, I guess. Both of them, yeah. And in the books you see at least Boromir like the Great Warrior, even greater than Aragorn. He was just too weak to resist the ring, and once he like broke his oath, I guess, and he just tried to get the ring, and then he tried to apologize to Frodo, and that's it. And in the movie, you in the very beginning see him as like that bad character who is trying to get the ring to Gondor and all this stuff. No, actually in the book he wasn't like that. He thought about bringing the ring to Gondor to win the war himself, but it wasn't his like main point. His main point was just to join this Fellowship of the Ring and try to maybe try to tell the whole Fellowship that that it will be better for them to bring ring first to Gondor, and then they will go to Mount Doom altogether. Then we have Denethor, who is actually not bad at all, as well as Boromir. Like, he in the movie, if you remember, he's like that. I don't know even how to tell that. He's just that steward sitting like, oh my god, what's going on? I hate all of you. Yeah, he was like really hateful of everything. And in the book he was actually kind of smart guy, and I liked him from the very beginning. Like, why would they make him that bad? He was just like Boromir. He just had that one weakness, but like not a ring, but with a palantir. When he was desperate, when there was a siege of Minas Tirith. That's my opinion of Lord of the Rings trilogy. As I said, I didn't really like it, but it is pretty okay. Like, I think I can even recommend it to my friends, to all people. Like, why not? If you like fantasy genre, you can read, but be sure that you're ready to read some boring stuff. It's alright. Thanks for watching, and remember, build the pony is the best.